Here's a quick cold water video on using the new Do It Molds Freestyle jig with a 3.5-inch Rains bubbling shaker and a natural Pro Blue. The rest of the gear used in this video will be in links in the description below.
Okay, so the unit that I'm using in this video is the Garmin Panoptix Ice Bundle, and I have a new prototype and adapter for basically for the transducer so that I can use this bundle on any boat. I got this on my little aluminum boat. And I have this unit right now in the live view down setting, which gives you a super wide angle in live time, which is really awesome to video game fish. I'm marking a fish, I'm working this fish, and finally I got this fish to commit and take the bait. Now the technique that I'm doing is called the Freestyle technique. And the jig head is a Freestyle jig from Do It Molds with the 3.5-inch Rains bubbling shaker, which is a finesse worm, and the color is natural Pro Blue. Now, I call this the Freestyle technique because you can fish this different ways. In this video, we're literally fishing it close to the bottom and just kind of marking fish, dropping it right over the top of those fish, and just kind of just shaking it in place, letting those fish slowly come up to the bait. And it is a deadly cold water technique. This water is 38 degrees. These fish are super lethargic. You know, they're not going to chase a swim bait. The only other way you really could catch them is like, say, a hair jig. But what's nice about this is that you can literally get over the top of the fish, drop this bait, and never let the bait go into the fish or past them on the bottom. You're literally watching the fish in real time on the Garmin, keeping the bait above them and just shaking it until they take it. And sometimes it takes a few minutes and sometimes it's instant, like this fish. The main thing is there's a couple things that I like to do when I'm fishing this technique. When I send it down, when I see a fish, and a lot of these fish are on the bottom because it's cold, I like to send the bait down and always keep it above the fish. And basically once I know that that fish is engaged, or that fish knows that that jig is there, I kind of stop it in place and I shake it. And then the only thing I'm going to do is maybe ascend it a little bit if that fish is curious, and he'll pull off the bottom. But you will know this, and every fish is different, but you'll know this with the electronics, and this is why this technique is so deadly. But without the electronics, it's a lot harder, and without this live view down, which is in real time, it would be even harder. You could do it with regular sonar, but it's way better with the live view down because it's in real time, but also because you have such a wide cone angle, so you can see fish coming from 10, 15 feet away. And this is another big fish. I had to work this fish for a little bit. I kind of cut out the clips and shortened it. But man, I'll tell you, with this technique, if you mark a fish, you can catch that fish. If you're diligent and you work that fish right, you can catch that fish. There's other ways to fish this technique, and there's different ways to work it. And I'm going to go into that in a series of these videos. But in this video, it was basically cold water. The fish were on the bottom, and you could literally get over the fish. Now, these fish were not spooky, so you could get right over them with the boat, which is key, and use that live view down, drop the bait kind of right over them, shake it in place until they kind of come up and bite it. And it's an awesome, deadly cold water technique. And there's going to be many more videos on this. And you can fish for suspended fish with this technique. It's very versatile, and there's different weight sizes for different applications, for different depths of the water. And it's something that you can use shallow and also extremely deep and everywhere in between.
In this video, I'm using about as heavy of a jig head as I'll use with the Freestyle technique, in that it's a 7/16 ounce Do It Molds Freestyle jig with that 3.5-inch bubbling shaker. And the reason for the bigger profile and the heavier jig is that when you're dealing with low light conditions, a real cloudy day in deep water, you have to kind of increase your profile a little bit because it's just a little harder for them to find the bait. Now, if it's calm and sunny, I'm going to downsize. I'm going to use a lighter weight to give it a better action. The lighter weight, the better the action you have. The good thing about when you upsize it, you can use braid to fluorocarbon. But when you're going with a smaller profile bait and a lighter jig head, you have to go with straight fluorocarbon. But the reason for the bigger bait in this video is just the lighting conditions.
Fine Fish is brought to you by Dobbins Rods, Optimum Baits, Gamma, Costa Del Mar, Thayer's Marine, IMA, Triton Boats, Mercury, Garmin, Do It, Rains, and Lose.